the Wayne County Public Library, and today is St. Patrick's Day, so you can see all the green clovers behind me. I might have some leprechauns here and there. So we're going to get started with The Luckiest St. Patrick's Day Ever. It is written by Teddy Slater. The pictures are illustrated, so they drew the pictures by Ethan Long, and it is published by Scholastic Books. Top of the morning! It's March 17th. The Leprechaun family is wearing the green. St. Patrick's Parade is about to begin. The wee ones are marching. Come on, let's join in. There goes Belda, leading the clan, arm in arm with Granddaddy Dan. She swings her Sherilyn. They walk and talk gaily, moving as fast as they can. Timothy Shinazi, handsome and bold, marches along with a big pot of gold.
Timothy Shinazi.
Man. And here comes Aunt Rose, tip-tapping her toes. With shamrock in hand, she follows the band, decked out in her very best clothes. Toodle-dee-doot, rum-a-dee-tum. Johnny and Jack play the fife and the drum. They kick up their heels in a wild Irish jig. Everyone's dancing, even the pig. I think I'd like to see that. After the march, it's back home for lunch, Milligan stew and green apple punch. Kate cuts the cabbage, Pat shells the peas. The mischievous children just do as they please. Friends and family keep coming to call. There's plenty of food for one and for all. The Caseys, McGregors, Old Grady's, Pig Finn. Everyone's welcome. Please won't you come in? Lassies and laddies stream through the door until there's no room for one caller more.
There's a lot of leprechauns.
There's a lot of them. The leprechauns crowd around the dining room table, piling their plates as high as they're able. But before they dig in, they have one thing to say. May the luck of the Irish be with you today.
Aye.
Happy St. Patrick's Day! I love St. Patrick's Day. I've always liked it. Also, it's me. Our next story is Curious George discovers the rainbow, because there's always a rainbow. And pot gold at the very end with leprechauns. Dun dun dun. And the adaptation is by Amy E. Cherricks. It is based on the TV series Teleplay, and it is written by Michael Muir. And it is published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. Curious George is a good little monkey and always very curious. Sometimes curiosity gets a good little monkey lost in the woods, especially when he's chasing leprechauns. Would you believe that that's how George discovered the rainbow? And it all started on a bright, sunny day. It was a beautiful day in the country. Steve and Betsy were visiting from the city for the first time. George couldn't wait for their outdoor adventure to begin, but first they had to unpack. When Betsy dropped her books, George rushed to help her pick them up. Then that's when he saw something he had never seen before, something amazing. That's a rainbow, George, said Betsy. See the pot of gold at the end and the leprechaun? Rainbows are always the same, 7 colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Forgot about Would You Biv? Remember that song?
Yeah, I do.
I was like, wait. Rainbows are created by the sun and the rain, Betsy explained, but I can make a rainbow without either. Want to see? A rainbow inside, George could hardly wait. Betsy used scissors to cut a slit in the center of a sheet of paper. Then she taped the paper over a flashlight and shined the light through a fishbowl of water. The flashlight is like a sunbeam, and the water is like a giant raindrop. The light shines through the water, and behold, Betsy said proudly, a rainbow. George thought Betsy's rainbow was nice, but there was no leprechaun or a pot of gold. George wondered if he would ever see a real rainbow that spanned the whole sky. Have you? He looked out the window. White fluffy clouds floated by. Looks like a nice day, said the man with the yellow hat. Meanwhile, the man helped Steve prepare for a hike. Have you seen any wild animals? Steve asked. We've got skunks and deer. I've seen moose or two, the man replied. A moose, Steve said. Now there's something you don't see in the city. At last it was time for their hike. Outside the sun was shining, and the temperature was cooler, but more clouds were rolling in. I'm driving into town to get food for dinner, said the man. Just then thunder grumbled low in the distance. If it rains, head home, he said. George knows the way. George led them into the forest. I'm not leaving without a picture of a moose, Steve said. Just then he felt a raindrop. Oh no, not rain. Do we have to go back already? I don't think so, Betsy said. It's probably going to stop soon. Look, the sun is already peeking through the clouds. Sunlight and rain at the same time? Could this be George's lucky day? Sure enough, when he turned around, there was a huge, colorful rainbow arching across the sky. His wish had come true. That's the biggest rainbow I've ever seen, said Betsy. George was so excited to have found a rainbow, but he couldn't see the pot of gold from here. Steve was excited too. I'm climbing this tree to take a picture of the rainbow, he said, scampering high into the branches. George needed a better view too. He knew if he was going to find the pot of gold or see a leprechaun, he needed to get closer. So what do you think he did? George ran off in search of the rainbow's end with Charky close behind. Charky, George, wait! Betsy yelled, chasing them through the rain. When Betsy finally caught up with them, George tried to explain what he had wanted to reach the pot of gold, but no matter how fast or far he and Charky ran, the rainbow only got further away. The leprechaun on the pot of gold is just a fairy tale, said Betsy, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to look just in case, could it, Steve? But Steve was nowhere in sight. He'll catch up with us, said Betsy. Let's keep going. They hadn't gone far when something small and green hopped through the bushes. Could it be the leprechaun? George thought he must be getting close to the pot of gold now. But it was only a green frog. Usually George would be happy to meet a green frog, but it was no leprechaun. George wasn't disappointed for long, though, because he had the frog led him to a second rainbow. Sorry, George, Betsy said. That's not another rainbow. It's just a reflection of the rainbow in the water. How will we keep chasing the rainbow now? We need to cross the river. Just then, Charky darted through the bushes after the frog and found what they needed most, a boat. Uh-oh, Betsy said as they floated away. How will Steve ever catch up with us now? Meanwhile, Steve realized he was all alone. Charky, Betsy, George, where are you? He called. Suddenly, something moved in the bushes. What do you think it was? A moose! Steve shouted, snapping a picture. But the moose didn't like Steve's loud voice or his camera. Steve was scared. He was about to call for help when he heard a voice. Back away from the moose slowly, the boy said. It was George's friend Bill. He knew a lot about the wilderness, and whatever you do, don't frighten it, Bill said. The moose walked off into the forest. When the coast was clear, Bill introduced himself. I'm Bill, and you're lucky I found you. Moose can be dangerous. Hey, I'm Steve, he said to Bill. Since you're so good at finding things, maybe you can help me find my sister and our friend George. I know George, Bill said. Follow me. I saw his friend in town. He'll help us. Steve, said the man, where are Betsy, Charky, and George? We got separated in the woods, Steve said. I don't know where they went. Just then, something sparkling caught his eye. More rainbows. Oh, yeah, Steve remembered. George saw a rainbow right before they ran off. If I know George, I bet he went to find gold at the end of the rainbow. I have an idea to help get him home, the man said. When George, Betsy, and Charky reached the shore, daylight was fading and so was the rainbow. George knew they needed to get home before dark. There was only one problem. He didn't know where they were anymore. Suddenly, Charky began to bark. Something was glowing from the end of the rainbow. It must be their pot of gold. George, Betsy, and Charky raced toward the light. George, over here, called the man with the yellow balloon. He was standing on the roof of their house holding a bright, shining balloon that he was wearing a very familiar hat. George was happy to be home with his friends. There was no pot of gold, but he knew he had found the real treasure at the end of the rainbow. His friend. The end. I hope you enjoyed that book. I thought it was such a good little story. All right, next thing that we're going to do, can you hold up your hand, show me 5, and wiggle it? Good job. So we have one green shamrock in the morning dew, another one sprouted, and then there were two green shamrocks glowing beneath a tree, another one sprouted, and then there were three little shamrocks by the cottage door, and another one sprouted, and then there were four little green shamrocks near a beehive, another one sprouted, and then there were five little shamrocks bright and emerald green. Think of all the luck that these shamrocks will bring. Okay, our next story is There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Clover. It is by Lucille Canondro, and the pictures are illustrated by Jared Lee, and it's published by Scholastic Books. There was an old lady who swallowed a clover. I don't know why she swallowed the clover, but she didn't roll over. There was an old lady who swallowed a daisy. She wasn't lazy when she swallowed the daisy. She swallowed the daisy to brighten the clover. I don't know why she swallowed the clover. She didn't roll over. There was an old lady who swallowed a butterfly. She did not sigh when she swallowed the butterfly. She swallowed the butterfly to rest on the daisy. She swallowed the daisy to brighten the clover. I don't know why she swallowed the clover, but she didn't roll over. There was an old lady who swallowed a bird. It wasn't absurd that she swallowed that bird. She swallowed the bird to glide with the butterfly. She swallowed the butterfly to rest on the daisy. She swallowed the daisy to brighten the clover. I don't know why she swallowed the clover, but she didn't roll over. There was an old lady who swallowed a pot. Believe it or not, she swallowed that pot. She swallowed the pot to carry the bird. She swallowed the bird to glide with the butterfly. She swallowed the butterfly to rest on the daisy. She swallowed the daisy to brighten the clover. I don't know why she swallowed the clover, but she didn't roll over. There was an old lady who swallowed some gold. It wasn't cold, all that shiny gold. She swallowed the gold to fill up the pot. She swallowed the pot to carry the bird. She swallowed the bird to glide with the butterfly. She swallowed the butterfly to rest on a daisy. She swallowed the daisy to brighten the clover. I don't know why she swallowed the clover, but she didn't roll over. There was an old lady who swallowed a fiddle. It is a riddle why she swallowed a fiddle. And the old lady started to dance, and before she was done, a wee little leprechaun joined in the fun. As they twirled high and low, she giggled so much, out popped a rainbow. Happy St. Patrick's Day! Okay, our last book for today is Too Many Leprechauns, or How That Pot of Gold Got to the End of the Rainbow. And it's by Stephen Korinsky. The pictures are illustrated by Dan Anderson. And it's published by Simon & Schuster Books for Young Readers. Finn O'Finnegan looked like a rogue and walked like a rascal, so it was widely thought that he was at least one or the other, and his shadow, which followed him closely and knew all of his secrets, might have said he was both. But when Finn returned home to Dingle after a year in Dublin, he was only looking to rest his feet and grow fat on his mother's soda bread. The village looked as much as he had left it, the stone walls a bit wobbly, the houses leaning into the wind, and yet something was clearly amiss. At his own house, Finn was surprised to find his mother cleaning up broken dishes with a broom. Mrs. O'Finnegan let out a great yawn. So here you are, Finn, and it would be glorious to see you if only I could keep my eyes open. But the leprechauns are everywhere, making fairy shoes with that infernal tapping, and none of us have slept in weeks. At that moment, Finn heard a steady tap, 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 tap in the yard. He stepped outside to investigate. In the garden, a leprechaun named Daub was hard at work. Tap, 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 tap. Good day, said Finn. Daub scowled at him. It's a busy day for sure. The more shoes I make for the fairies, the more gold I get, and nothing is more important than gold. Now, Finn had some experience with leprechauns, and he chose his words carefully. A wise outlook. If I'm not mistaken, though, you might have missed a stitch. Daub dropped his hammer. Missed a stitch! He wagged a finger at Finn. Fancy yourself an expert, do you? Come with me. Daub led the way to a second leprechaun named Waddle. He too was making shoes, a dainty pair with silk flowers lining the sides. What do you say to these? Said Daub. Has Waddle missed a stitch too? Finn rubbed his chin. Well, his shoes are fine, assuming that they'll only be worn in the dark. In the dark, cried Waddle. Where no one else could see them, Finn explained. Both leprechauns turned a deep shade of red. The next day, Daub dragged Finn to 3 more leprechauns, and to 4 more the day after that. By the week's end, Finn had seen shoes of every size and style, and for each flaw or deflect that he mentioned, the angrier the leprechauns became. Leprechauns are sensitive, Finn observed to his mother. And greedy too, she added, but don't put my heart crossways by taking too many chances. There was a knock at the door from Daub. You're just in time for tea, said Finn. Daub snorted. It's not tea I'm after, it's you. Follow me. Daub led the way to the field where all the leprechauns stood waiting. As Finn approached, they moved back slowly to reveal a great pile of gold. We hardly could have gained all this, said Daub, if our shoes were not the finest of their kind. Impressive, said Finn. He could see that the leprechauns loved their gold dearly, so dearly that it just might be their undoing. Perhaps, Finn went on, if I saw all your shoes together, I might change my mind. Yes, yes, the leprechauns agreed. They were sure that that would make the difference. Tomorrow morning, we will bring the shoes to the village square, they promised. Finn nodded. I'll be counting on it, he said. A gray dawn greeted the leprechauns as they arrived with their carts, barrows, sacks, and bundles. The shoes were unpacked and laid out with care. Soon everything was ready. But while the leprechauns were there and the shoes were there, Finn was not. The leprechauns waited and waited. The sky cleared before Finn finally appeared. Sorry I'm late, he said, although he didn't sound sorry at all. Finn marched up and down the street. At some shoes, he stopped to point in astonishment. Oh. At others, he simply clapped in delight. A very impressive sight, he said finally. I can see why you are so proud of your treasure. Dob frowned. We're proud, he repeated. Are we still not proud of our gold? Well, you could be, said Finn, if your gold hadn't suddenly disappeared. The leprechauns turned pale. Disappeared? Such a thing was beyond imagining. Still, it might be best just to make sure. Empty. They found the field empty. It must be here somewhere, Dob insisted. The leprechauns looked everywhere, behind hedges, under rocks, even in the trees. All night and into dawn they searched, through dingle, their lanterns flickering like fireflies in the darkness. But it did them no good. All of their fairy gold, every last coin and nugget were gone. In the morning, when the mist still lay heavy in the air, the leprechauns came pounding on Finn's door. What have you done with our gold? Dob demanded. Finn shrugged. All is not lost, only safely tucked away. I'll make you a bargain. If you promise to leave Dingle and never trouble us again, I'll return your gold. It pained the leprechauns to admit defeat, but not as much as it would have hurt them to lose their gold forever. Reluctantly, they agreed to their terms. Then, we'd best be getting moving along, said Finn, looking up at the clearing sky. He led them back to the empty field. At that moment, the sun came out and a rainbow fell from the sky. And there, where the rainbow met the grass, a great pile of gold suddenly appeared. The leprechauns stomped their feet. You moved our gold to the end of the rainbow, and when the rainbow vanished, so did our gold. Indeed, said Finn, for it is a fairy gold, as you told me, and fairies often use rainbows to move their gold about. You tricked us, said Dob. Finn held up a hand. The rainbow is back, and so is your treasure. Take it in peace while the rainbow holds, and remember our bargain. Finn then went home to his mother, who after a good night's sleep baked him more loaves of soda bread than he could even eat. As for the leprechauns, they were heard grumbling at times about how Finn had outwitted them, yet they were secretly pleased as well, for if the truth be told, they'd have kept their gold at the end of the rainbow ever since. That end. I hope you enjoyed that story. Our craft bag for this week has a green scavenger hunt, shamrocks, and then you have Olaf that you get to dress up as a St. Patrick's Day little leprechaun. And then we have our rainbow that you get to color. Oops. Then we have your pot of gold, and you're going to see what you're going to do with the pot of gold here in a second, and our word search. Okay, so with your pot of gold, you're going to get a cool, neat little swirl. Can you see it? And you'll get to make this. So you're going to do a rainbow on your swirl. The swirl will be white, so you do have to color it. And then your pot of gold is already white, so you do have to color it black and put some gold in there, or just color it all gold. And then you will get to dangle it from your ceiling, and that's your rainbow with a pot of gold at the end. So I hope you all had fun, and you get to act like a leprechaun. So happy St. Patrick's Day.